Well, I get people that ask a lot about knife jigs. Sorry, I got the math marks on my face. If you guys follow this channel or my knife making at all, you know I don't use a jig or anything to grind my knives. I use a one of these plunge file guides to make sure my plunges are nice and even. But as far as grinding the blade, I don't use any jigs or anything. I just dropped part of it out of here. So I had a bunch of people ask me about knife jigs and if I recommend them or anything like that. So I went ahead and bought one, and I did a little research and bought this one, which is really super nice. This is made by Origin Blade Maker. And this is their just standard kind of small size bevel jig, okay? It's got a little knob there. You can turn it and then you can adjust for what angle you want your bevel at. You can see I've got it set at about 5 degrees. You can adjust it. It's got a bunch of little holes to where you can adjust how your blade's mounted on there. And then it's got some really nice kind of knurled knobs to where it gives you something to hold on to when you're going up against that belt. Really solid, all aluminum product. I definitely would recommend this for somebody that wants to grind with a jig, okay? Nothing bad to say about this at all. It's got kind of a nice plastic, supposedly kind of a slipperier surface. I didn't find it super slippery on my platen. It kind of was binding up a little bit and sticking. But I wanted to give you guys my opinion on this, and this is a opinion on somebody that's been freehand grinding forever, and just my first time ever trying to use one of these jigs, okay? So first thing, let me show you the knife I went ahead and tried it on. This is a new model of mine that's gonna be kind of a bigger, it's got a 4 3/4 inch blade, kind of a camp bushcraft knife, okay? Just real kind of comfortable, very user blade. This one's in 52-100 as just a test knife, but I thought it'd be a good one to kind of see how this jig worked. So I bolted it up on there and kind of figured out how I wanted it. Like I said, it has a bunch of different mounting possibilities on there, and I started just kind of slowly grinding away at it. And you know, my first impressions are it definitely gives you this feeling of control, and that you kind of set it on there and move slowly. And it's, you know, if you're a beginner, it might be a good option to kind of fool around with, because like it gives you pretty good, like, so, okay, here's one side, all right? You can see it's pretty even. Now, what I think people don't understand is that it's not just put it up to the grinder, grind a blade, and it's perfect. There's still a lot of like pressure involved in how you're tilting that guide and how much pressure up, down. You can still tweak it. And so I was just messing a little bit, and you can see, so look at how far up this goes here at the tip, okay? On this grind. And then let's flip it. And you can see that I didn't bring it up nearly as high. Look how high that is and how low that is on the tip, okay? So that's where that pressure, where you're applying pressure, and even though it's fixed in that jig, you can still kind of move it up, down, left, right a little bit, which kind of puts your variables into it a little bit. So that being said, if I wanted to just say, yeah, I'm gonna start using a jig, grinding a bunch of knives with it, yes, I think I could do it, and I could probably put out some pretty good bevels. Like I said, this is just my first try. This is at 120 grit finish. And I'm probably gonna mess with it a little bit more from here. I just kind of wanted to stop and make a quick video because I'm just doing it right now. And that's a lot of times, if I tried to make a video about this in a couple days, I'd forget some stuff. So I guess I wanted to just say the pros and cons a little bit. Okay, as of right now, this second, the pros are, it's a very solid device, okay? If you buy this one, I don't think you can go wrong with this machine, this tool, and it gives you pretty decent results, okay? And like I said, this is with me just really winging it and trying, and I messed up on that tip. You can totally see I brought it up too high, And I think if you ground 3 or 4 or 5 blades with this thing, you'd get to where you had them 99% perfect pretty easily, okay? However, it's a very generic grind, okay? You could probably adjust how you mounted this in here and figure out some different ways to make it unique, but I kind of hate it. You know, if you see any of my knives, which, let me see, I have one done right here that I'll show you. So this is a knife and it's covered in oil, so don't worry about that, okay? So my grind, you can see, has a steep angle, and I like to do that. It's a little bit unique, and then the front of my handles always match that grind, okay? So there you can see that side and that side. They're very even, okay? And this was done freehand, okay? No jig or anything like that. It's taken me some time obviously to figure that out and get it to where I'm happy enough with my freehand grinds to offer them for sale, okay? So that's something you have to kind of think about, is if you want to sell a blade that just has this up, over, very generic grind, there's nothing wrong with it, okay? But it doesn't really fit my style as much. Like, I would rather sell a knife that has my kind of design, my grind, and even if the bevels weren't perfect on it, that's okay. I mean, it's okay. The knife is still going to perform perfectly, just like this one will, but it has that little bit of character, a little bit of uniqueness of a handmade knife that I think a lot of people appreciate, and I appreciate too, you know? So basically, I guess I just wanted to go over this a little bit and explain these jigs are really cool. Nothing against using a jig at all, especially if you're a beginner. I think a lot of beginners, especially ones that message me, they're frustrated with doing bevels because they are really frustrating to get right. It takes a lot of time. I still don't get them right, and I've been doing it for years. So if you're a beginner, you want to make a few knives and start getting into it, getting one of those jigs is not a bad option. It gives you some pretty even bevels. And yeah, but like I said, that character, that uniqueness, that something that differentiates you from the crowd, I think you're not going to get with that jig. So I will go ahead and try to put a link down in the description of this video for this jig that I use. I believe this one was maybe 120, 140 bucks, something like that. So it's not cheap. But if you got to where you were really happy with it and you could pump out bevels, then it's worth it. The other thing that I kind of don't like about this is the setup on it is very time consuming. I obviously marked my center line on this and put it in there. I ground that side, flipped it, and you know, you got to take these out, put it back in. It takes a few minutes. Did this side, and then I wasn't happy with the height of it, so I had to put it back on this side and go over it again. And you know, by the time I'm even where this is at, which I'm going to go back and mess with it a little bit more. It's so time consuming to use this thing, as far as just mounting it in that fixture, going back and forth. And that's another thing that once you did it a lot, you'd probably get it figured out and it would be a little smoother and a little quicker. For me, I have a feeling that thing's going to collect a lot of dust here, and that's okay. But I wanted to make this video, talk to you guys a little bit about it. If you have any questions about it, drop it in the comments below. I'm going to try to make videos about everything that you guys are asking me in the comments. So I'm trying to slowly get through that. That was a pretty big asked about, so I thought I'll just buy one, mess with it a little bit, and see what I think. And maybe I'll use it more, maybe I won't, but if you have any questions about it, feel free to let me know before you buy it. You can see that center mark, or that center plunge, is really good and even, because you can watch it from the top and really make sure you're even on it. I don't know. I think I've already been ranting about this for like 10 minutes, and I still don't know what to think about it. So I'm going to finish this up and probably put some handles on it for me to test it a little bit. And yeah, so thanks for watching again, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I really, really appreciate it if you do. And make sure you like this video. All right, guys, thanks.